Budgeting is sort of like shooting a basketball. There's more than one way to do it, and a strategy that works for one person may be terrible for another. That's because there are several factors you need to consider, such as your financial goals, the amount of effort you're willing to put in, whether you prefer manual or digital options, and so much more. And so in this video, we're going to discuss the 4 most popular budgeting methods and explore what they are, the pros and cons of each method, and which method suits you best based on your financial goals and preferences. Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Andrew and I'm a certified public accountant and former financial analyst, and on this channel we explore data-driven strategies to help us achieve financial independence. Now the first method we'll explore is the zero-based budget. Zero-based budgeting is a method where every dollar of income is assigned to a specific expense, resulting in a balance of zero. So if you earn $5,000 per month, all of your spending and savings should also total $5,000. Now, this doesn't mean your bank account balance actually goes to zero at the end of every month. It just means every dollar from your paycheck is accounted for, whether it's going toward paying a bill, paying off debt, buying groceries, or going into savings. To provide an example, let's say your monthly take-home pay is $4,000. You would then list out all of your monthly expenses such as rent or mortgage, groceries, transportation, insurance, entertainment, savings, etc., and allocate a certain amount of funds to each of those categories. You would then subtract the amount you are spending on each category from your $4,000 take-home pay and hopefully get a net balance of zero. If you don't, you just need to go back and make some adjustments. If the net balance is negative, you need to lower your budget on a category or two, such as cutting back on restaurants or canceling your gym membership. On the flip side, if you end with a positive number, this is a good sign and just means you can put more into your savings or pay off more of your debt. Now, looking at the benefits of this method, the first is that it provides clarity on your spending. Not only does this method show you exactly where your money is going each month, it also lets you know if you go over or under budget in each of your budget categories. As a result, you get a clear understanding on what you're spending on, which can help you make changes in the future if needed. Second, this method can help control overspending. Giving every dollar a roll leaves you no room for making any impulse purchases because every dollar is already accounted for. Now, in terms of the drawbacks, the first is that it requires a lot of upkeep. While this precise budgeting method can be an effective way to control your spending, it requires a lot of work. You'll need to monitor your spending closely to make sure you're staying within budget for every expense category throughout the entire month. Second, this method isn't the easiest if you have irregular streams of income. If you don't always know how much money you'll have to allocate, staying consistent with this method can be more difficult than other options. Ultimately, zero-based budgeting is ideal for those with predictable monthly incomes who are detail-oriented and committed to making significant changes in their spending habits. While it can be time-consuming, it offers a comprehensive understanding of your finances and helps prevent overspending. There are many paid apps that use a zero-based budget, as well as free Excel and Google Sheet templates all across the internet. Moving on to the next budgeting system, we have the 50-30-20 budget. This budget rule, popularized by then Harvard Law professor and current Senator Elizabeth Warren in her book All Your Worth: The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan, offers a straightforward approach to managing finances by dividing your after-tax income into 3 categories: 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings and debt payoff. Your needs are the bills that you have to pay and expenses you truly can't live without, such as your rent or mortgage payments, groceries, transportation, insurance, minimum debt payments, utilities, and childcare expenses. Your wants are the expenses that are important for living a satisfying life, but aren't necessarily essential, and include things like entertainment, travel, shopping, and dining out. Savings cover various financial goals, including an emergency fund and retirement contributions, while debt covers all your debt payments beyond the monthly minimum. So to provide an example, let's again say your monthly take-home pay is $4,000. Applying the 50-30-20 rule would give you a monthly budget of $2,000 for your needs, $1,200 for your wants, and $800 for your savings. When it comes to the benefits of this method, the first is its simplicity. The 50-30-20 rule is the most straightforward framework for budgeting, make it easy to understand and simple to apply. Second, it provides an easy way to see if you're overspending in any categories and gives a way to correct it. If, for example, your savings and debt repayment category takes up 30% of your after-tax income due to your car payment, you can consider spending only 10% on wants for a while until your car is fully paid off. Third, this method emphasizes your savings goals. By continuously setting aside 20% of your salary into the savings category, you put yourself in a great position to accumulate money, meet long-term financial goals, and have a sense of financial security as you approach retirement. Looking at the drawbacks of the 50-30-20 method, the first is the feasibility of the system for some people. In today's day and age, keeping necessities to 50% or less of income can be very difficult, especially if you live in an expensive area or have a low income. Second, this budgeting method isn't as precise or defined as some other methods. If your goal is to try and cut your spending on any one specific category, for example, shopping or dining out, the onus is on you to track your spending at a lower level than just the needs, wants, and savings buckets. Ultimately, the 50-30-20 rule is best suited for budgeting beginners who want a simplistic way to track their spending without having to get down to the nitty-gritty details. Also, keep in mind that while the name implies a 50-30-20 split, you can always modify the percentages based on your circumstances and financial goals. Moving on to the third budget strategy, we have the Pay Yourself First budget. The Pay Yourself First budget, also known as reverse budgeting, prioritizes putting money into savings. With this method, you set aside a specific amount of your income each month for your savings goals, and then use the rest for bills and discretionary spending guilt-free. For example, let's say you again have a monthly income of $4,000 after taxes and your monthly savings goal is $500. In that case, you would move $500 into your savings account, IRA account, or investment account as soon as you get your monthly paycheck. If you get paid twice a month, then you would simply set aside $250 each paycheck. The $3,500 that is left over can then be used to pay for all your bills and other spending. Looking at the pros of reverse budgeting, the first is that it puts savings front and center. By focusing on your savings goals before your expenses and spending, you're more likely to save consistently. Second, it's simple and doesn't require constant monitoring. Unlike some other budget plans that require you to categorize all your spending into various categories, reverse budgeting requires little planning and effort. By front-loading your savings, you can use the remaining balance to spend as you see fit. Third, your risk for budget burnout is much lower with reverse budgeting. If you found that the upkeep for some of the other budget methods lead you to get tired or quit budgeting altogether, this method can be much easier to stick with for the long run. And fourth, it can be easily automated. Many banks let you set up scheduled automated transfers between your checkings and savings accounts, so you can automatically transfer a certain percentage of your paycheck to your savings without having to lift a finger. When it comes to the drawbacks, the first is that this method is not ideal if you have a lot of debt. While saving money should always be a priority, paying off debt is more important, especially if you have a lot of high interest debt. Second, it can lead to overspending. If you don't set a high enough savings amount each month, once your monthly savings goals are funded, you may end up spending a lot more on discretionary spending than you need to. And third, paying yourself first can be difficult if money is tight. If you're someone who's currently living paycheck to paycheck, taking money from your checkings account before paying your bills could put you at risk of overdraft or credit card debt. Now, the pay yourself first budgeting technique is best for someone who is debt-free but struggles to save each month and doesn't want to list out and keep track of every expense. And lastly, we have the envelope system. With the envelope system, also known on TikTok as cash stuffing, you put specific amounts of cash into physical envelopes, each representing a different budget category. For example, you would take a few envelopes and write a specific expense category on each one, like groceries, rent, student loans, etc., and then put the money you plan to spend on each of those things items into the envelopes. When you need to pay for something, you would then only use money from that corresponding envelope. For example, if you set aside $50 in an envelope for coffee and you buy a $6 latte at Starbucks, you use the money from that envelope. You would then be left with $44 to spend on coffee for the rest of the month. And once there's no more cash left in the envelope, you can no longer spend money on that category until the next budget period. Looking at the benefits of this budget, the first is that it helps avoid overdraft fees and debt that can come with debit and credit card purchases. Since you literally can't spend more than what you have in the envelopes, you don't have the option to spend money you don't have. And second, it is proven that cash-only users are more likely to feel an emotional connection to their money and thus spend less on average than debit or credit card users. Now, looking at the drawbacks, the first is the inconvenience of paying only in cash. Making regular trips to the bank or ATM to withdraw money can be time-consuming and leave you vulnerable. Carrying large amounts of cash puts you at risk of loss or theft, and you'll also miss out on the protection and rewards that credit cards can offer. And second, this method can make it more difficult to track family spending. So if you have a family budget, it can be hard to keep an eye on where your money is going if different people are taking cash out of the envelopes. The envelope system, aka cash stuffing, is best suited for impulse spenders who want to take care of their finances in a hands-on way. If you already spend most of your money in cash or don't mind paying everything in cash moving forward, this method can actually make budgeting fun and customizable. Ultimately, each of these 4 budgeting methods I mentioned here today have the same goal in mind, which is to help you understand and evaluate your relationship with money. If you want to have a more detailed approach to budgeting, then the zero-based budget or the envelope system will work well for you. Now, if you want to budget but want a more lax approach, then the 50-30-20 budget or the reverse budget are solid options. Now, I personally have been using a zero-based budget for several years now because I prefer to track every expense and love looking at my finances, but like they say, different strokes for different folks. Now, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to check out this video here where I provide a step-by-step approach to how to save your first $100,000. And now that's all for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.